Okay. We're a little tiny bit early, but there we go. Doesn't really matter. Got to get this out of the way. This was a very good performance from us. As you can tell, I don't have the face cam up today because I'm still having issues. I haven't fixed them yet, so I didn't even bother putting it on. Let me get my my chat up and stuff as we get into this. There we go. Let's get that up. Okay, sorry, the streaming was acting a bit weird there, so I'm not sure what's getting a little bit of lag. That's fine. Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about the game a little tiny bit, and then we'll get into the points, as I often do. This is another kind of game where it's nice for us to kind of just chill and be like, just revel in the fact that we've won another game. And won a European game. We've obviously been out of Europe for a year. And yeah, it's nice to see us getting consistent wins now, and even though our defense has been a little bit leaky at times, it's good to see us on top of teams and yeah, beating teams that we should be beating. We no longer have that feeling of worry or fear that we might get beaten by a lower quality side, and we're now kind of actually putting the boots to teams that we should be beating, and yeah, we've done it again today. Welcome in. I'm going to hit the intro pretty quickly here. As I said, it's pretty late, so I don't want to stay up too long and be dragging this out. So let's hit the intro. I hope that the sound's working. I'm not sure if the sound is working, so that's fun. Lads, lasses, and the rest of the masses, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mono from Mono CFC, and welcome to Season 2 of Feeling Blue. Let's go. Okay, hopefully that worked. I'm not sure. I'm not getting feedback in my ears, so let's welcome you guys back to another Feeling Blue, and let's talk about this game, shall we? Because, again, as I said, it's just nice to be in a situation where I don't have to be negative. Nice to be in a situation where we can just kind of chill. I had a cheat day today, so I am full of pizza, and it's a good day to be a Chelsea fan, and especially considering some of the other results that are going on in Europe at the moment and other teams in our league that are not doing very, very well. It's good to see us winning, and obviously even though we haven't topped the group because other teams have done better in terms of goal difference, it's good for us to get 3 points on the board and just put our foot down and stamp our authority on this group straight away. Let's talk about the first player now. I'm going to yes, secret agent Samu, definitely. I'm going to be talking pretty much exclusively about goods in this, and I could genuinely give a good to every single player that played on the pitch, bar a couple, because I think the performance overall was pretty standard of what we should be expecting from Chelsea against a lower quality side like this. The first player I do want to mention, though, is someone who is playing in a position that is not familiar to him. He's the man who did the press conference yesterday, and a man who didn't really look out of place in this holding midfield role, and that's Cesare Casadei. Now, I think that it was a very smart decision for Enzo Maresca to give him a new lease of life in terms of giving him the platform to kind of show what he can do in a different position, because we always see that with certain players, it just takes a kind of shift in the way that they're played for them to actually start performing, and we saw that with Casadei today. I think he's really starting to suit this holding role, not only because he's got the physicality, but because he has the technique too, and he is a bit of a scrapper. He does like to kind of get into his duels. He had a lot of energy in this game. I think he kept things ticking for us in that midfield and never really got caught out. I think the only times he does ever really get caught out in the midfield is when when the passes towards him are a bit hospital and he has to kind of reach for things, because he is a bit stationary at times, but he needs to be that kind of post to bounce off of. Sorry, let me just answer this question. Do you think anyone has given themselves a shout into the first team from this game? The only one I would suggest that has kind of worked out, possibly pushed their way into the first team, would be Pedro Neto. and I will talk about him in a little bit. I'm also very upset that Champong didn't get some game time. I am rather upset. I feel like that's the one negative I could take from this game is the fact that Maresca didn't feel comfortable enough when we went 4-1 up to just immediately start putting on all the youth players. Josh is in the squad. He's on the B list. Dyer as well on the B list. He could have come on, but they were both on the bench, so unfortunate that they didn't get game time. But yeah, that's kind of the only qualm I have with this. Speaking of Joshua Chempong and speaking of right backs, the next player I wanted to talk about, and a player that I think had a pretty decent game, got himself in a very impressive assist whilst he was on the pitch, and kind of proved a lot of people wrong because people have kind of been saying that he doesn't really suit the right back role. I for one also said that I would rather see a Chempong play, and he obviously Axel Disasi came in and captained the side for the second time. I believe this is the second time he's captained the side, and did not put a foot wrong in this game. He was the only defender on the team really that was having to deal with duels, because most of their play was going down the right hand side and going onto him. I do feel like he dealt with the majority of them pretty well. He dealt with his aerial duels pretty well. He almost got a goal, bless him. He really so close to getting a goal, didn't get a goal. Obviously gets the assist for Pedro Neto's goal with an absolutely beautiful pass, which really, really reminds me. I don't know if you guys remember that goal that Madueke scored at the back end of last season, where Shalabar played that really long over the top ball. It really reminded me of that goal, like a picture, like almost the exact same goal. Disasi with a great pass to get that, and in general I think that his direct passing in this game and his link between him, Cassidy, Neto on the right hand side in general I think was very, very good. So yeah, another good performance from Axel, and it's good to see him actually being able to be used, because we know how good he is how good he can be when he's given the platform to play as a centre back. A lot of the time when he gets pushed out too wide, he's not as good, and he has to kind of rely on his positioning, because he doesn't really have the most pace, as people have mentioned. He's always going to get outpaced a bit, but the thing is, which is funny, is that he's one of those players where it's not that he doesn't have pace. He does have pace, he's just not very quick to get up to his top speed. So like, if he doesn't have the extra few yards to get up to speed, then he will get beaten, but for the most part I don't think that really troubled him in this game. Let's talk about I'm going to talk about I'll talk about a couple of mediums here. I've got a debatable medium that I don't know if I'm going to put in the medium or the good box. I'm probably going to edge him towards the good box, but let's start with the medium. The only player that I think we could genuinely credit, like mark down as a player that did not play particularly well in this game. And I'm not going to be putting him in the bag because I think that's too harsh. I think just in terms of his defending, I don't think he was very good. In terms of his actual passing and stuff, I think he was decent on the ball, etc. It's Benoit Badiashile. And this is really upsetting because he has really not recovered ever since he got his injury, and has come back and just doesn't seem like the same player that we saw under Graham Potter. And we just know how good he can be, and he just doesn't ever seem to get back up there. I think I don't want to blame anyone solely for the first goal, because it is just terrible organisation in general. I don't know if he's one of the centre-backs that should be marking Watanabe, who gets in and gets his goal, but the second goal is 100% on him, in my opinion. He gets beaten way too easily on the on their right flank, on our left flank, and the ball goes through his legs, and then they get a tap in. I think in general, I think a lot of the kind of success that they were getting in the latter stages of the game were coming down his side and coming down that side. Maybe that's partly due to Mudryk not particularly being the most defensively astute as well on that side, and so maybe I'm not going to blame him that much. But I think like overall he wasn't horrific, but I just have to put someone in a different box, and it's going to be him. The other player that I would argue could play as a medium, and I'll ask you guys about this and your opinion on this, because I don't know how you feel about this. I'm tempted to give a medium to Christopher Nkunku, and I'm going to be putting him really, really high here, because obviously he gets his goal, and my brain says, okay, if you get a goal contribution, you need to go in the good box. But I think he was so poor in that first half that it's genuinely hard for me to not put him down a little. I think he just genuinely did not get involved at all in the first 45 minutes, and it wasn't really until he scored his goal out of nowhere that he actually started performing in the game. Like, as soon as he scored his goal from outside the box, then he started playing well. For the rest of it, I don't think, if I'm being honest, I don't think Jurgensen could really do anything about either of the goals. It's really, really, really unfortunate for him, because all of the goals that Jurgensen has conceded so far in his Chelsea career, I don't think he's had an absolute chance with any of them. Like, genuinely, he's never had. Maybe he could do better for the first goal, I would suggest, possibly, but I mean, it's a free header, and he shouldn't be having to save free headers, because our defense should be dealing with that. But yeah, going back to Nkunku, I think in general he didn't have the greatest like first 60 minutes of this game, and he kind of grew into it eventually, and then obviously got taken off for Guiu late on. So I'm going to be putting him in medium despite him getting his goal, because I think that it's just, I'm not marking him down in terms of I think that he had a bad performance, because I'm a person that always says if you're going to have a bad game, at least score, right? I think that, as Crimson's just said there, I don't think he suits playing a striker, because that's just never the way he's been. He's always been deployed. When he was playing at RB Leipzig and he was absolutely flying in Germany, he was always played as a second striker off of a bigger striker. And him playing as a lone striker on its own just doesn't really suit him. Obviously, we saw him score 3 goals against Barrow, but come on, it's Barrow. They're not the greatest side. Obviously, this is a slight step up in competition against a European team that are in a first division, so he didn't look the greatest here. Maybe it was just an off day for him, but it's good to be able to say that even on an off day, Nkunku is still scoring and getting goals. So can't credit him that much, which is why I put him so high in the medium box, because I can't ignore the performance in the first half, but he is so close to getting a good. Let's talk about the man who is on the thumbnail, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. He did get his goal, and he was rather good throughout the game, and I feel so delighted when he scored, because you always see, and you've seen it the entire time that he's been a Chelsea player, that he's so driven to try and show what he's capable of, and hasn't really been able to do it so far. I think obviously he's come back from his injury, and he's starting to get his full fitness. He's starting to really put in his work now, and I think that not only was this a good performance in terms of him creating and distributing the ball and playing the neat passes and keeping possession, but also he trying to be inventive, trying to play the ball forward, and then eventually getting his goal, which he really deserved. And you can tell from the passion from his celebration that he really wanted that. So yeah, good performance from KDH. Hopefully he can keep this up, and after a few games, maybe he pips Enzo to get into the into the first team. Not sure if he's ready yet, but after a few more games, maybe he will be. Yeah, again, definitely could have had an assist too, to Guiu. It's a tight angle for Guiu, so I'm not going to blame him for that. But there we go. Let's talk about. I'm saving one player for last, because I have very strong opinions on him, so I'm not going to talk about him yet. The second to last point, the penultimate point, is going to be a combo point, and it's for our wingers in general. So Pedro Neto and Mudryk, both of these two I think had really good games. I think Mudryk especially was really electric in this game, and I think that he was kind of, oh, why has that happened then? God damn it, one sec, there we go. I think that Mudryk had a really good game, and he kind of showed something that I've been asking for a long time, and it's that he's seemingly now being instructed by Enzo Maresca, and maybe also by his teammates. If we could stop spamming W's in the chat, that would be great. I will time you out if you keep doing that, so just chill. But yeah, if Mudryk has obviously been instructed now to play to his strengths, right? We know what he's good at. He's good at running in behind. He's got excellent pace. He's got a decent delivery on him when he gets the ball in certain areas. And we are now seeing that he's kind of being utilised in that way. He's not getting on the ball and trying to dribble. He's being the player that's getting onto the end of things. And I think that's kind of exemplified by the players that are around him. Obviously, Vega playing on that left-hand side. Casadei able to get balls up to him. Felix, who kind of drops into that right-hand side, or into that left-hand side as well, and is able to play like quick 1-2s with him. On to Neto. Obviously, Neto gets his goal in this game, gets another goal in this game, and as I said earlier, I think that he's the only one that kind of, out of this performance, has kind of cemented his place as like, hey, I might be in for getting a start in the first team, please, because he was really good in this game. He was obviously trying to take players on. He was being inventive. He was really, it felt like any time that Neto got the ball that something was going to happen, and it was kind of upsetting because we didn't get to see much of him because the play mainly went down the left-hand side, but when the ball did go around down the right-hand side, he made the most of it. Obviously, Disasi, as I said earlier, getting the pass for Neto and Neto scoring. But he is not the Portuguese player that I want to talk about. Because the player that I want to talk about, and my personal man of the match for this game, it's Renato Veiga. And I spoke about this guy in the last Feeling Blue that I did. This kid is crazy good for how old he is and how immature he is in terms of playing football and playing professional football. He is crazy good. Like, it's insane to me that we said, all of our scouting said, you know what, screw getting Ricardo Calafiori, let's just take the player that was supposed to replace him, because he's 10 times better. Let's be real. He's so much better. Not only does he get the assist, obviously, for Nkunku's goal, not only does he get his own goal with a very, very well placed header, and again, Mudryk getting a goal involvement there for him with his cross. Very, very good, well worked goal. For the price tag, very, very, very good. And again, it's hard to say this, right? It's really, really, really difficult, because I obviously am a person that likes to try and stay objective. I do have my biases, as most people in life do. I am so biased towards Renato Veiga in terms of I want to see him play more, that it's a travesty to me that we can't play him and Cucurella at the same time. And because it's almost like a blessing and a curse that we have so much good depth in this squad that we can't see every single one of these players playing. Yeah, I think it was around 14 million, I believe. I think it's how much we paid for him, or like it's like 21. I think it was like 21 million euros, but obviously in sterling, that's a different amount. But yeah, just so solid. Like, not only defensively he's solid, he puts his tackles in, he basically never ever really gets dispossessed, he rarely gives the ball away when he's passing, he obviously wins his aerial duels because he's so big, he shields the ball out of play well, he's creating forward, and as I said, he's enabling, in this rotated side, Mudryk to play his best football, because he's so good at playing that in-between role where he's not 100% a left-back, he's not 100% a centre-mid, he's kind of in the middle. And that's where we kind of saw Cucurella being played. And Cucurella, though he's very, very good on the ball, I think that where Cucurella kind of suffers is his off-the-ball attributes. Even though he's very passionate, he's very aggressive in his defending, obviously he's not the biggest bloke. So having to kind of compare the two, I would say, we see that Cucurella is slightly better on the ball, Veiga is slightly better off the ball, and it's such a selection headache to have that good depth in that position, because one of the things we've been screaming out for the last 6 or 7 years is we have no quality left back, and now it's like, oh well, we've got 2 quality left backs, and what do we do with them? So that's a great problem to have. And again, I think personally, everything that went well through in this game went through Renato Veiga, and I'm so glad that he got his first goal today, because it kind of exemplifies I think that even if he didn't get his goal, even if he didn't get his assist, he still would have been my man of the match, because I think he put himself about so well and was kind of trying to keep the team ticking, and as I said, enabling Mudryk to play well. But then on top of that good performance, he also gets his goal, he also gets his assist, and he is an absolute shoo-in for the True Blue, in my opinion. So I'll run the poll, because we need to do the True Blue, but I think you guys will kind of agree with me in that way. Let's do, I'm going to try and throw in some different options here, because we don't often get to see these players in here. It's kind of annoying because I can't put Mudryk and Neto in here. I've put Neto because I think that he had a slightly better game. Obviously, he scored. But yeah, I will put the poll up. You guys can vote for that. And whilst you guys are voting for that, I will take a sip of my coffee and then answer a few questions from chat that I just saw. Ooh. If you could sign any player from a Prem rival, who would it be? I don't think this is a hard question to answer. I think we've got good players in every single position except for goalkeeper. I would 100% take Emi Martinez from Aston Villa. I think that's, I genuinely believe if we had Emi Martinez, we'd be a title challenging team, because everywhere else we're pretty much solid. The only thing I could possibly say is maybe, like, again, the obvious one is to say, oh, I'll just get Erling Haaland, but I don't think that we are a team that plays to Haaland's strengths, and obviously Haaland is a very good target player and isn't the greatest at actually creating for his team, which is why Jackson thrives so hard through our in our thing. Yeah, people would say Saliba. I think Saliba's a good shout, but the thing is, Saliba wouldn't get into the team over Levi Colwill, in my opinion. And I think that, again, that's maybe just a bias for me because I think Levi's so good. Obviously, Saliba can play on the right side too, and he could play over Wesley Fofana. But again, I don't think he's that much of an upgrade. I think the majority of our goals we score is generally due to like goalkeepers, our goalkeeper not being 100% solid, and it's one of those things we see from Aston Villa, and very, very good examples, obviously, in the Bayern game just recently, how much he bails them out when they need bailing out, and we don't ever really see that from our goalkeepers. It always kind of seems like it's like, oh, if our defenders make a mistake, we just concede. I think that's mainly, as I said, I think the two positions you can kind of, for me, that I can kind of single out as, hey, we need reinforcements, is goalkeeper, because that's one of our weaker sides, and maybe this might be a bit controversial, maybe right back, maybe we steal Trent from Liverpool, because James is always injured. If we're talking in terms of everyone is fit all the time, then James gets into that side 100%. Maybe we get a better left winger. Could maybe get a better left winger, but then again, Sancho's performing well. There's got to be someone really obvious that I'm forgetting, because Palmer obviously would start on the right hand side. I'm trying to think anyone who is there any really, really good left wingers that are in the Prem right now that I can't think of. I'm not going to say Martinelli. I know Arsenal fans would be screaming Martinelli at me, but I don't think he's that good, if I'm being perfectly honest. Good left wingers. Am I going crazy? There's got to be someone. There's someone. Oh, Luis Diaz. Diaz, of course. That Son as well. Yeah, he plays more as a striker nowadays, but Son would be pretty good. Yeah, I think that's a good assessment. I think if Sanchez keeps being this inconsistent, he will lose his place eventually. Garnacho, yeah. You know, Garnacho is such a weird player for me because I feel like he's got so much quality, but because he plays for United, he doesn't play as well as he could do. So I'm not. There's got to be someone else. There is 100% someone else I'm forgetting about. He's a really good left winger, and I can't think of who it is. It's someone in my head. It's not Diaz. It's gonna bug me. I'm thinking. I'm like, KDB. Yeah, KDB is a good shout for a midfielder. I don't think we really need a creative midfielder. Yeah, again, Salah is one of those players that I don't think would suit the way that Chelsea plays, because he is very much I don't want to say he's a system player, because he's not. He's great. He's greater than a system player, and he's a fantastic goal scorer, of course. But I feel like we are a team that kind of needs our wingers to be more creative, and I think that he is less creative and more. He's more of a forward than a midfielder. Does that make sense? Gordon was who I was thinking of. I couldn't remember my brain just went completely off. Mitoma, obviously a good shout. Callum Hudson-Odoi. That's a funny one. I don't think that the thing is with Callum, right? I love Callum, and obviously I repped Callum for so long before I even had this channel, as in terms of it being a big thing, because obviously I started the channel in 2020. It didn't really blow up until like last year or the year before. I was like a really big rep of Callum Hudson-Odoi on Twitter and on my other Twitter, which isn't the one I use right now. And it's kind of sad to see how things worked out with him, but I am very glad that he is now flying at Nottingham Forest and he's kind of being like one of their main men. Let's end the poll. It's pretty obvious who's going to win here. We get Renato Vega as the winner by 75%. So he goes into the true blue. And I think that's kind of what I would assess as well. I would say that he's the best one in the game. Barnes. Ooh, Harvey Barnes. But yeah, thank you guys for... Thank you guys for, sorry, I'm so terrible at talking and reading at the same time, as you can probably tell. Thank you guys for hanging out. As always, as I said, I don't want to go on too long because it is quite late. And I'll leave you guys to your evening. I'm going to eat more pizza and celebrate the victory. And our next game, I believe, should be the Nottingham Forest game, if I'm not mistaken. What day is that on? Let me check. It's on Sunday. It's an afternoon kickoff on Sunday, so the preview for the Nottingham Forest game will come out on the Saturday. Probably 7 PM is the usual time which I will upload those, so look forward to that. And as I said, thank you guys for the support as always, and thank you guys for joining in the stream, voting in the poll, etc. You guys have a good night. I'll hit the outro. Peace. And that was just my Feeling Blue match review for this game. I hope to see you here for the next one. But if you can't wait until then, YouTube reckons you'll enjoy one of these two videos on screen in the meantime. Thank you guys so much for watching as ever, and remember, in the rain or in the dry, keep that blue flag flying high. Come on, you Blues.